Today we're going to process some olives. I only have about 2 gallons of freshly picked olives here. So what we're going to do is, I already went through and cleaned them, pulled off all the stems. And what we're going to do is wash them, and then we're going to put them in a bucket and put some lye in there so that we can take all that terrible tasting stuff out of there and then we'll be able to eat them. So the first step here is cleaning our bucket. Oh, I just take any kind of bucket. Doesn't really make much difference. Since I don't have that many olives, I'm using a small bucket just to have detergent soap in there. So just cleaning it all out so we start nice and fresh. And now we just fill it up with water. Then we take our olives. And dump them all in there. See this stuff here. You can see this stuff. It's 100% sodium hydroxide, food grade, meets FCC specifications, and they're not kidding when they say poison causes severe burns, so be very careful. And I happen to buy this one from do.energy.com. This is a 2-pound bottle. Now normally I just mark this full, half, and quarter so I know. Normally when I'll put the lye in a bucket, or I just use a milk container, and then I mix it in water before I put it into the olives. But be very careful. I wear glasses because I'm just afraid of this stuff. So since my basic formula is 1 pound per 5 gallons of olives, but since I'm only processing 2 gallons today, I'm going to cut my formula back down to match that. Okay, so let's get going. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, since I use normally a half to do 5 gallons, I'm going to only use half of a half, so that'll be a ½ pound out of a 2-pound container. Tighten that up because I'm afraid of this stuff. So here's our olives. Here's our lye. Here's my safety glasses. So I mix the water in with the lye. See this crazy stuff steaming off, so like I say, be very, 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 very careful with this stuff. In fact, I don't even like being directly over it because it almost gives off fumes. Okay. You can feel the container being warm. Oof. Gee, it's nasty stuff. Okay, that takes care of that. We'll wash off this handle here. Okay, so the next thing here is to just mix it all in. and we're going to let it soak in this solution for 24 hours. Oh, there's one guy. He jumped out. He didn't like it. Get back in there. Okay, I will come back in a few hours and remix this just to make sure. But that's basically what we have to do. Remember, be careful, this stuff is not user friendly. Okay, so like I said, it's going to sit here for 24 hours, but we're going to come back in a couple hours and remix this. So I'm just going to put the cover on it, and that's it. Okay, I just moved these off the grass. I'm going to open this up. See how they're doing. Alright, let's just take one of these guys. But I'm going to check here to see how far the lye has penetrated. So I just take a razor blade and I'll just cut this section like this. Pull this guy out. Oh, this is perfect. You can see here the different color differences, and see how this is light green, and you can see still the white in here. That means the lye has not penetrated all the way down. So we're going to cover it back up and wait a couple more hours and check it again. Once you look at the color, look at the color of the water. See how it's all dark? That is from the lye sucking all that, I don't know if you call it, well, poison or bitterness, sucking all the bitterness out of the olives. So now we're going to check back in a couple hours later. Okay, it's been almost 24 hours now. So let's just look at these again. So I'll take my razor blade, just pick one of these, which one here. Okay, so we're just going to cut into it. And here's what we're looking for. You notice that this is all the same color. So see how green it is right there all the way. So now we know that the lye penetrated all the way through. So it's time to start the rinsing process. Okay, now here is an olive that was not processed. So you can see the difference. See how this is white. Look how this is dark green in here. Yeah, so it's all been, it has all that lye in there. So now we have to leach it out. Also, take a look at the color of that water. See how red it is? Look at that color. That's what we got to get out of the olives. Okay, so what I'm going to do, is just fill it up with water and rinse it a couple times. Then I'm going to soak it and let it, and rinse it again. So you can see the water is red. And I'm going to rinse it probably 3 times today. And I like to do it 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night, but you know, sometimes you just can't do that. So what I'll do is in the morning, I'll rinse them a couple times. Then when I come home in the evening, see now it's already not as red. And as the week goes on, and we're going to do this for 5 to 7 days, you'll get clear water again. Once you get clear water, you know that all the lye is taken out of there, and then they're safe to eat. So, see, the water is a little bit already, but that doesn't mean anything because it's got to soak. You pick the olives in September, early October, and the way that you tell is that if one olive on the tree turns black, everybody's ready. So now we'll just put the cover back on and wait, and we'll come back later on and redo this whole process. Okay, here is day 2. Let's take a look at this. A couple of these guys came out. Let's see, if you look at the water here, I don't know if you can see it, it's still got red in it. So we have to keep on doing this day after day. And I will do this in the morning, and I'll also do it in the evening. In the evening I'll probably do it a couple times just because I have more time. And all this red is all that lye that's in the olives. And okay, as the water flows, I keep change out the water, you'll see it's getting lighter and lighter. Okay, so the water's crystal clear. So what I'll do now is just put the lid back on, and then later on, after supper, I'll come back out here and change the water again. So that's all you really have to do. You have to keep on doing it until all the red is gone. Okay, let's check this again. Okay, we'll flush some more water in there. Now notice how red the water is? That's what we got to get rid of. There, the water's all clear. So let's just let it sit there. And we'll come back out later on and do it again. Okay, this is day 2. Let's see what it looks like. Or is this day 3? See? Oh no, see? It's right on the bottom. Okay, the lye is still in there, you can see. By just looking at the color. We have to do this for several days because we got to make sure we leach out all the lye. Well, it's Saturday and I have some time, so I'll be home. So I might as well take a look and see what these guys are doing. I already did them this morning, but you can see the water is still, and it's getting pink. It's not really the red. Well, we'll see. Okay, let me put some water in there. Okay, as you can see, I'll just bring this over here. As you can see, it still needs more because the water is not clear. So we'll just rinse these off again, and maybe later on tonight I will come and change the water again. Here's another day. Let's see what this looks like. Okay. You can see it's still red. But that's because it sat overnight. It sat a longer time. So let's empty this out. And we'll put some water in there. But notice that the water isn't as red as it used to be, so it's slowly leaching them out. Okay, so let's just let that sit and we'll come back later on today. Okay, here's another day. See what they look like. Well, you can still see. Got a little red. Well, not a little red. Still got a little color. But you will notice that it's not as deep red as when we first started. So we are in the process of leaching out all that lye. We're getting closer. Okay, so we'll put the cover on and try it again later on. Well, let's see what it looks like today. So that looks pretty clear. Let's see what it looks like on the bottom. Well, there's just a touch more. So let's put some more water in those. But it looks like now a lot of the lye is gone. So I'm just going to keep on doing this until I'm 100% sure, because I don't want any of that lye left in here. Okay, that's it for today. Well, I'll come back later on today. In the evening. Alright, this is in the afternoon. Let's take a look at it. Okay, that water looks pretty clear to me. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to fill it up with water. Let it sit here overnight, and tomorrow morning we're going to move to the next step. So let me just fill it up. If you notice, there was no red, no pink. It looked pretty clear. So it looks like the lye is completely leached out of here. So tomorrow we'll move to the next step. We'll just let it sit one more day, just for safety, and that's it. Okay, this could be the last day. This is day 8. Usually it doesn't take me this long. I think what happened is with the amount of olives and water, I put a little bit too much lye, so it took another day or a day and a half to get out. And I'll see once again, that is clear water. So we're done. What I'm going to do now is put water in a bucket and then put salt in there. Because normally I make this in 5-gallon buckets, I just didn't have enough this time. Okay, since I'm not going to leach any more lye out of the olives because it's all leached out, I just put enough water in to cover all the olives, and I'm going to put a half a cup of salt in here, and I'll mix that up. Okay, and I'll let this sit here until tomorrow because I just don't have time today to can these, but I'm going to put these in jars and can them. So this will sort of preserve them for that period of time, but it's not like you can do this for a long time. So now tomorrow we will can these, and I'll show you how to do that too. Okay, now we're going to move to the canning process. Here we go. Here's all our olives. So what we have to do here is we're going to put them in the sink, wash them out one more time, and we'll just pick out the bad ones here and there. And we're going to put them in jars and can them. See, we have all our jars, these quart ball jars, rings, and I got new lids. And they have a rubber seal here, so they just go on top here. Then you put the rings on, and away you go. So, and then the other thing is, on the stove we got some water boiling, and what I'm going to do is put a cup of salt in there, because that's what we're going to use to, that water is going to be used to fill the jars. When we put the olives inside the jars, we need to add water. Okay, so what we're going to do is create a brine solution by putting in some salt. So I'll put about a quart of salt, a cup of salt in here. How much do I have here? And we'll just mix that in. Okay, we can shut that off now. Now let's go back over. So here's all our olives. Put a bowl for the ones we don't want to use. Now, all these jars have been washed and sterilized. I usually run them through the dishwasher first, so they're good and clean. Okay, so we'll just start picking these olives and putting them in there. And the ones I don't like, I'll just put off to the side. some of the ones that are too small I don't like. These are the perfect size, but you can't get them all. They're not always available. Okay, and I only fill them up to level where the ring starts, because we're going to fill the rest of this with water, and we have to leave a little bit of expansion. So let's fill a couple more jars. Oh, by the way, we should taste one of these. Well, looks like they came out pretty good. Okay, the next step in the process, now that we made this brine solution, we're going to, and we have all our jars filled up, we're going to add the water. Or maybe this is easy. Whoa, it's a little too much. See, you only want to get it to this level here, because you need about a ½ inch of expansion. Okay, so that's one. Really get lazy now. Yeah, perfect. Now if we needed more, we'd have to put some more water in the pot, put the salt, get it to boil, put the salt in, mix it all up. But we have just enough. Okay, now we have it filled up with brine solution. What I do is I just cut up some garlics, and I'll just drop a couple in each one, just to add a little extra flavor. And what I will do is I have some hot chili peppers, so I'll put a couple of peppers. And maybe just 3 of them. Yeah, one more. Just to see, as an experiment, to see how it turns out. Okay, now that we have garlics in here, we got some chilies in there, we'll put our, just clean the top, and here's a brand new, you didn't even see it, here's a brand new lid. You'll see the rubber is not indented at all. So we'll put that on there, tighten these up. Okay, that's one. There you've got a nice seal. Put the ring on there, tighten it up. Now this one has a little bit too much water. So I pour it out because we need to leave about a ½ inch for expansion when it boils. I'll have to remember which ones have the chilies in them. And Every time you do this, it's best, well not best, you should always, not just a little bit too much, just a little bit. You should always use new lids. The rings don't make any difference, because once you finish the canning process of boiling it, you can actually take the rings off. It doesn't need it anymore because this will seal and suck down tight. So the next process is to put them in the boiler and boil it for 20 minutes, and we'll do that next. Okay, here's a typical boiling pan. It's just a big pot, I don't know, 5 gallon, 6 gallon, and it has one of these cages that you just drop in here. And what we'll do, and we're going to fill this full of water, get it cooking, and then we're going to drop all the jars in there. Another thing to look at, when you put the jars in there, it doesn't sit right on the bottom of the pan. This cage keeps it from touching the bottom. Okay, so let's fill this up and get it going. Okay, so I put hot water right out of the tap to get this going. I'm going to turn this on high. And now I'm going to add these jars. Just check the top. Give the top a little twist if you can. Doesn't have to be on super tight. And you'll see as we add jars, the water level comes up. That's why I didn't fill the whole pot up at the beginning, because it's easier to add than take away. Okay, so it's not up to the level where it's supposed to be. So I'll just add some more hot water. Okay, so now you see that the water is level with the jars. Okay, so now you see the water is level. So what we're going to do is bring this to boil. Then once it starts boiling, we're going to let it cook for 20 minutes. And then it'll be 100% preserved. You can let these sit out on the shelf for who knows how many years. I've had some out there for 10, and they're still good. Okay, so let's just wait till it gets boiling, and we'll come back. Okay, you can see it's getting ready. It's steaming away. So what I'm going to do is start my 20-minute timer and let it boil. Alright, my timer is beeping away, so it's time to take these out of here. Remember, all this stuff is hot. Shut off the heat. Okay, this is the part I don't like. Well, they're a little warm. Okay. Whoa. Alright, we're going to recap the whole process. You want to pick these in late September, early October. You clean them, you put it in a bucket, you leave it 2 or 3 inches above this for the lye solution. And then when you mix the lye, make sure you be careful with that stuff because it's really dangerous. Make sure you wear safety glasses like I do, because it steams out. Not really steams, smokes or whatever it does. Stuff is really nasty stuff. And the first 24 hours or less than that, that is when you constantly check the hours to make sure that the lye went all the way through. Everything's so hot, 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 hot. Okay, then every day you rinse those to pull out the lye, and after this time it happened to be 6 days, or not 6 days. This time it had to be 9 days because I think I put too much lye in for the amount of olives. And we rinsed them day after day, a couple times a day, every time I thought about it, until it got clear. And then once it got clear, then we put a cup of salt in the solution and let it sit there for a day, and then we did the canning process. So with the canning process, we boiled water, put salt in there, and then we filled the jars full of olives, filled it with the salt solution, put some garlic in, and a couple of these we put hot peppers, so we'll see how that works out. Let them boil it for 20 minutes, and now we just have to wait. Now when these cool, this thing, you'll see the lid here, I don't know if you can see that or not, this lid will pop down. It just makes a popping noise and sucks down, and that seals the whole thing, and then it's ready to go. I usually put a label on here to say what year I canned them, but you don't have to, and that's it. That's the whole process. So how I learned how to do this is I was painting this old Mexican woman's house 20 years ago, and I didn't finish one wall because she didn't tell me about it. So what I did is I told her, I saw her olives, and I said, if you show me how to do this, I will paint your wall. So every day I went over to her house and she did one more step, to the point that I knew how to do this whole process. So since she taught me, passed on that knowledge, I just thought I would just pass it on to you. Happy canning, happy olives.